I learned loads off of Nick. It was an incredible journey, and it was an emotional roller coaster ride that taught me so much in my own personal development as a coach. I thought, whilst in the sunshine at the lovely Villa Sol, we'd play 3 holes. Chew the cud, chat about how I've arrived to this point in my coaching career, give you a little bit of background, because I haven't really talked about who I am, what I do, what I enjoy in my pastime. So I thought I'd share that out there, and hopefully you enjoy it. Let's get going. Welcome back to the channel, guys. We are at the wonderful Villa Sol, and we're going to play one of the loops of 9. They've got 3 loops, and they all offer up their own individual challenges. They're all pretty darn tight if you've seen some of the content so far. We're teeing off here. This is hole 19, it's par 5. It is 540 yards. Not really a birdie chance today. It's into the breeze. It's a fairly fierce dogleg left. Wind straight into. The favour is down the right hand side of this hole. But as you can see from the overhead, it is super narrow. Always going to choose a line for me, always choosing a line off the tee. Going to go down the right here, and I'm going to be favouring the toe of the golf club as usual. Pick my intermediate point, get the ball a little bit further forwards, helps me find the toe, and off we go. Yeah. We'll take that one. That's a nice little draw down the middle. Alrighty, let's keep going. This coaching lark, well, it's been a lifelong journey, to be honest. Turned pro when I was 17, back in 1995, 96. And it was a bit of a baptism of fire. I started my apprenticeship at Richmond Golf Range. Those of you that know that, it's no longer there. It's the Richmond Rugby Athletic Club, and they were partners with the World of Golf in New Malden. I was there probably until working in the shop and doing my apprenticeship. I was turned pro off of, I can't really remember now, scratch 1, 2, 3, something like that. Wasn't very good. And my sole objective was to play for a living. I was a member at a golf club, Wimbledon Common Golf Club, but it's not a particularly lustrous golf club. It's short, on common land, the conditions weren't particularly great. And it really made you have to have a good short game. Wasn't much of a driving golf course, but it certainly made you have to hit the ball very, very straight. Decent tee shot. Mayor's office, as they say in Australia, and I keep referencing that. We'll talk about Australia in a little bit. How far we got left? We'll get the old Zapparoni out. Take a little look around, go around the corner here. I'll just zap a lump by the green. Oh, crikey, well, 225. I mean, it's not really a shot to take on. It's got a bit of a dog leg to it. But look, you haven't tuned in to see me lay up in the middle of the fairway there, have you? So 225 front edge, and it feels like the wind is sort of helping out the right. I think a hybrid. This is a new club to me, recently fitted at Precision Golf. They got a great channel. That's the home of my channel, where I do all of my golf coaching, the golf trips away. I got fitted for the first time. Mark Woodward, very good friend of mine for over 25 years, member at Wimbledon Common Golf Club with me. He helped me get fitted, and the hybrid is a club that he's always wanted me to have in my bag, and It's been weird, really. It's, you know, starting out with it. It's an odd club, but I've done a little bit of practice with it just in the bay at work, and I've started to enjoy using it. You know, something that's flighted at around 220, 230 instead of a 4-iron off this hanging lie here. This is a lot more of an appealing shot. So downslope, wind's coming out the left, out the right. Downslope makes it slightly awkward, but obviously with this hybrid, it really doesn't make it feel that way at all anymore. Feels like I can get down and get some flight. We have Colin Montgomery come down to Precision Golf a lot. We've talked just recently about how equipment has really steered away from, you know, golfers that have been good divoters, pressure on the golf ball. Seeing the ball take off and launch is something that new equipment doesn't really embrace in the way I feel it should do, and that's why I've gone more lofted with all of my irons over standard. I've got 11-degree driver. I've got a 3-wood that is fundamentally a 5-wood but just slightly tweaked stronger, and I've got a hybrid. So with this downslope 225, trying to turn it around the corner, that's a toughie. That's a tough shot. But with this hybrid, it feels something very, very doable indeed. I've had this little waggle going on down at the bottom for years. It makes me feel very secure. I'm trying to set it off down the right, try and get it to swing in. I'm not going to do too much with it because the wind is going to help me take my intermediate target. There's that pressure left. Let's give it a rip. She's a little bit right. Not too bad though. That'll play. So we find ourselves down the right hand side. You take a little walk over here, Laura. The hole is narrow. It is it must be 15-20 paces wide at that point. It's a toughie to knock it on in two. Take a little look round to the green there, Laura. It's undulating. That flag is hanging off the back edge, and I've now got to play myself underneath some trees. So let's walk back to the golf ball and see what we've got in store for ourselves here. If you maybe come and have a walk around the back there, Laura, just back over here, so the viewers can get a look at the sort of shot I'm left with. It's not particularly appetizing, but really not too tricky. I think one of the things that amateur golfers really battle with is keeping the ball low and anticipating how quickly that ball will get up in the sky. You know, a lot of AMs would be taking 7-iron out and trying to get it underneath the trees there. I'm going to go with a hybrid because I really want absolutely no part of those trees. This is almost feeling like a long putt. Just something bunting out there. Remember, this is a par 5, so I've got a reasonable amount of flexibility here. We've not lost the shot, but we're slightly out of position. We've still got a good opportunity to make a birdie. My caution here is going long. It's the only place I can't really hit that. That's going to be short-sided. And knowing that the wind is into me, by knocking it over the back of the green, I'm then downwind to a green above me. So the only place I cannot go here is long. So I won't be going there. Little bit of a feeler. Let's see how we go. It's not my best effort, to be honest with you, but I'm going to play it. I was so cautious about going long, just came up a little shy, but let's go see where that is. I spent a lot of time in Australia when I was playing full time, very lucky enough to have a sponsor. So I left World of Golf really working there in 2005, that sort of time. I was working there for 10 years, doing a bit of coaching, playing a lot, you know, typical sort of trainee, coaching a lot in the mornings or in the evenings and playing on the opposite ends of the day, particularly during the summer. And so short game, I remember when we first turned up in Australia, I was down there with a couple of pals, Ben Clayton and Paul Dorelli, two great guys and good golf coaches. We turned up, we were at a practice round for the PGA Tour of Australia at a golf course, Peninsula Golf Club. And crikey, we played a couple of holes with this amateur turned up on the tee off scratch, and we thought, who's this likely lad, you know, off scratch. Back in the UK it was like scratch was nothing, but he just tore us apart. His short game was absolutely electric, and ever since then we kind of never looked back. Spent so much time at a place called Melbourne Golf Academy, where loads of great players, Stuart Appleby, Jeff Ogilvie, Adam Scott, Aaron Badley, from time to time would all hang out down there and do a lot of practice. And I was fortunate enough to hang around with some great players from the Victorian Institute of Sport, Australian Institute of Sport. It was a time in my life that was instrumental, and it would go on to be something that really was the catalyst of how I would grow up as a golf coach, a golfer, a human being. It was really interesting. We'll continue on that in a little while, but it leads nicely on with the short game to this shot. Pretty naff chip out of the trees up there. We've now got a chip shot to the back of the green. I've got, the putter was never going to be used. I've got myself a 9-iron here, and again the ground is, or the grass, the slope, get your words out Stuart, the slope is into me back edge. I want to get it on the deck as quickly as I possibly can so I can gain some control. A little bit of a feeder right to left. If you have seen my video on chipping, again, I always reference it, really not trying to make there too much of a differential between the club head and the handle speed. A little bit of right to left break. Let's see how we go. There she goes, gallops up the green there. I'm pretty pleased with that. It's about 4 feet, I would guess. In an ideal world, like it maybe a foot or so closer. But with the driver off the tee, it was aggressive play. The hybrid off the second shot was aggressive play. If you're taking holes on, you've got to roll that dice, baby, depending on the kind of confidence you've got in your golf game, to be able to back it up and hit the shots. I was fairly confident with both tee shot and second shot. Look, the margin of error is pretty darn small there, isn't it? And I took my chances. I got out of position, but I fancy myself as a bit of a chip and a putt. This is inside right edge. This is the putt for par. I'm not really a practice stroke guy with short putts. Very much line it up, take a look back at the ball and go. And I just got her in. That wasn't the most confident putt in the world, but it's a nice 5 to start with, and we're on to the next hole. Let's go. Australia was incredibly pivotal in my career. There's a guy called Steve Bann who was working with KJ Choi and Stuart Appleby. I managed to start getting some help from Steve, and really for the next 5 years I was going down to Australia until about probably 2006, 2008 maybe. And that really was the catalyst for me going on, learning about the biomechanics, how we move as humans, rather than just thinking about positions of the golf swing, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So we've got ourselves a par 3 now. If you want to come around here, Laura, behind us, give the viewers an eyeball of what's faced as a test. It is 163 yards to the flag, but we've got some hurt here. We've definitely got 10 or 15 of hurt. So 163 is playing 178. I'm going to allow for 15 yards of hurt. It's a back left flag. That is not to be messed with. Now I could either try to turn one into the flag or fade it into the fat part of the green. I'm going to go with the turner. So I'm going to aim up the right. I've got a 6-iron here, which is a 185 shot for me. So I've got plenty of club in hand, and with draw I can hit this really quite soft to keep the spin rate down. So I'm going to aim at the left edge of that trap that you saw there, and I'm going to try and turn her in. Nice smooth swing. Yeah, there's definitely 15 of her up there now, just puffing up. So a little bit stronger with the blade in the backswing, and turn her in. It's just turning. Oh, and it looks like it's just turned a fraction too much. Good for distance though. That might leave us a bit of a smelly chip. So with that wind into and that back left flag, it's like, oh, I don't want to go at the flag because I don't want to hit it left. I don't want to aim right because I don't want to miss the green right or miss the flag right. So it's one of those holes where it's like you're caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. You've got to pick a shot. Pick a shot, commit, play it, go see where it goes. You'll get so much more out of the commitment in playing a shot than the dubious nature of hedging your bets. Pick one, play it, and go see how you get on. Let's see where we are. It's not ended up too badly. It felt a worse shot than it actually was. Turned it into the, as I say, turned it into the wind a little. Left flag, left with a fairly simple chip. But if you come in a little bit closer here, Laura, and just come around here, and what I want you to do is just come closer and just focus in on the club head for me. And just, can you see how, look how that grass is backing up. You see how we're into the grain? If you now just back up, Laura. Into the grain, it's nasty business, because any amount of slightly early contact, that thing is going to go just here. Now a great little tip is toe up, but toe up in this instance still isn't, or should I say heel up, toe down. When you've got the ground and only the toe of the golf club is interacting with it, it has less grab. But look, that's so grabby, even just using the toe is going to make it nasty. Therefore, the thing that I'm most interested in is keeping my height, keeping my legs pushing up as I hit this chip shot. Any amount of down through my legs or down through my posture, and the bottom of the golf swing is going to find its way into that grass. So it's like, and the best way to imagine it, imagine if I was to tee the ball up high and all I wanted to do is take the ball perfectly off the top of the tee. Now I did a video on strike, and one of the drills was talking about the various strikes. Fat, golf ball first, ball and turf, halfway up and a top. The 5 different contact points. Well, this one is just golf ball only. So when I'm chipping here, what I'm practicing is feeling a little bit of height in my posture, and I'm trying to feel as though I'm literally going to take the golf ball only. It's not a particularly nice chip shot to have because of that grass, but let's see how we go. Yeah, so didn't quite get enough of it, not quite enough energy. Awkward, really awkward. If I'd have had my time again, I might have used a hybrid, but it was okay. It was okay, not the best in the world. Those are the shots, yeah, best players in the world. I mean, they're just electric from that sort of distance. And spending some time down in Australia, you looked at the real players, the short game artists that could just keep a round of golf going. I mean, I played a lot of golf with Jeff Ogilvy at his home course at Victoria Golf Club. His best man at his wedding, I became really good friends with, and so we got to play a lot of golf, and he just made anything off the fairway, off the green, around the green, just so effortless that allows the momentum of a round of golf to keep going. And if you have lost the idea with all of this discussion on how far you got to hit it off the tee, fairways don't count anymore, I think I really disagree with that. There is no substitute for hitting fairways, hitting greens, because it really allows you to have an opportunity to score well. Let's see if we can make 3 here. This is a left to righter. It's going to be just outside the hole. Again, I'm not one to have a practice stroke from this sort of range. Once I'm in, I've got my eyes on where I'm trying to strike, and as soon as my eyes hit the golf ball, I'm off. stayed there, didn't break. Crappy bogey really from a shot, you know, how far are we away from the green there, or what far away from the flag there? What are we, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm 8 paces away from the green, the flag stick, and I've made bogey. That, my friends, is why I'm a coaching professional and I'm not a tour player. Of course, practicing and the artistry that you get as you practice and play more, I'd be better at that. Let's take a walk back to the buggy law. So when I left Australia and really after spending 5 or 6 years down there and working with Steve Bann, I'd started already really trying to get a bit of a training regime in with a guy called Paul Czech, Czech Institute. Really, it was something different to TPI, Titleist and TPI. I didn't want to go anywhere near golf. I wanted to deal with the human first and the golfer second. I've always had a bit of a physics and mathematics background and brain. I'm kind of good in that environment. Certainly no mathematician or professional in physics or anything, but I think of everything logically, and hopefully that comes across in my teaching in the not only in person but through this channel. But it really changed the way I started thinking about the golf swing. I very rarely want to think about trying to position the golf club. I'm always thinking about how we can move first, and that's really the direction that I moved in. So how did I get involved in the tour? Well, I'll tell you on the next. 2011, I was on the range at Wentworth. I was very lucky enough to be a member at Wentworth for a good number of years. I was doing some practice. Nick Doherty turned up on the practice area. At that time I was already doing some work with Steve Webster. Started with Steve in 2010, 2009. This is when I was packing up playing really. I was playing and getting more interest with people wanting to have my help with their game. And so I helped Steve Webster, started working with him at the BMW PGA Championship, and 3 events later it got close to €500,000 up. And at the end of that year, I think that was it must have been 2010, Nick was on the range. He was with Damien Taylor, who was coaching him at the time, and Damien introduced me, and I was really brought on to help Nick with a thing called heart math, or a bit of science. It helps you measure your heart rate variability and works with negative emotion, etc. And that was really how I started working with Nick. 6 months later, he then asked me. I religiously said, I will not help you all the time. You're being helped by someone else. I didn't want to cross the line of my professionalism, and so we were in Kazakhstan that year, and he was looking like getting his card back, or certainly it was in the playoffs, and top 15 were getting a card back on the main tour. I think it was like 20th. Unfortunately, he didn't get his card back that year, but we started doing some work on his game, and the next 6, 7, 8 years travelled a lot with Nick, full-time caddy, full-time coach. It was a really interesting journey. Still helping Steve Webster on tour. Then I started working with Mark Davis on the seniors tour. I had a win with him, and really got Nick back to playing some really good golf. The 2016 Dunhill, I think it was, which we'll carry on talking a little bit more about in a second. We have now crossed over to the 3rd hole on the main front 9 of Villasol. This is a nasty hole. If there was one hole before I came back doing my boot camps at Villasol, this was the hole that I remembered vividly. It's uphill, it's a dog leg left. It's just not that easy. The overhanging trees are around 260, so for me to carry that, it's not really possible. Got to get it up the right and get it turning back into the fairway with a camber that's rolling off to the right. It's a strong driving hole. You need to stand up and be counted off this back tee. It's measuring 460 odd yards. So picking a line, picking a shot. When I mean picking a shot, picking a shape is something that really is important. I'm going to aim right half of the fairway. If in doubt, get the ball forwards. Let's get some flight on it. And let's get some draw going. So ball forwards in my stance. My usual rehearsal, trying to make my left foot light in my backswing to load my right, and then push up with my left. Yeah, so nicely up the right, little bit of draw. I'm going to take that. That was absolutely killed. So we'll head back to the buggy, Laura. So, Nick had a really successful career, but had some discomfort with his driver, let's say. And we really got through that. He found his game with his driver, still had discomfort, but to go into the back nine at the Dunhill in 2016, not necessarily having a chance to win, but we're playing with Shane Lowry, and he was playing well. He was hitting some good iron shots, good driving. It's difficult around St Andrews on the old course. It's difficult around there. You can get some crosswinds, awkward tee shots, and we finished 25th or 20th in the end. When I first met Nick, with total respect to him, he couldn't hit a driver in front of a greenkeeper. He was seriously uncomfortable. And to now see him on Sky Sports, flourishing, he's an incredible anchorman for Sky Sports. Hopefully I get to do a little bit of work with him, which will be a bit surreal. But to see him hit drives on there and it's, that's still nerve-wracking, having been in the studio and having to hit shots in front of the cameras. It's nerve-wracking, and for him to do that and play some golf and still shoot some low numbers in social golf is great. I learned loads off of Nick. It was an incredible journey, and it was an emotional roller coaster ride that taught me so much in my own personal development as a coach and as a human being as well. It really gave me an insight into great strength, great resilience a player can have, and I don't think I'll ever meet anyone that's got the kind of resilience that man has. Someone like Ollie Wilson, that we played with him at an event in Belgium, I think it was, and he was done. He was driving it really, really, really badly, and then maybe the year after he goes on and wins the Dunhill. It's incredible to see the depth at which golfers that want to hang around and keep their eye in and get back to where they want to be, yet they keep on getting knocked down and standing back up and playing. It's got full admiration in my eyes, and it was a great journey with Nick, and now seeing, as I say, on Sky Sports, it's a new chapter in his life, which I know he's very, very happy and enjoying. Let's go find my ball up in the fairway and see if we can knock it on the green and get this back to level par. Let's go. We've just clung on to the fairway, that little bit of draw, pitch sort of middle of the fairway and ran across it. So just shows you, holes can be tough, and there's a little bit of puff out the left as well here. It's a tough fairway to hit off that back tee. Let's take a little look, see how far we've got left. Got 177. As soon as we've just driven down this hole, I know that flag is up the back. It seems to be back flag day here at Villasol. Into the wind and uphill. So, that is definitely 10 uphill. And I've definitely got 10 a hurt there, probably 15, but I'm going to say 10 because I don't want to. Look, 10's not enough. It's not enough. So 15. So 25 on 77 is 202. 202, man. That's a long way. 202. I don't want to pitch it 202 because obviously one hop and skip out the back. So 202. Let's go 192 is my pitch. Oh, it's a 5-iron. It's a 5-iron. Crikey, Dick. That's a long hole, man. That's a long hole, and the memory served me right. Huh? It's a hole that's not easy. So what shot do I want to play in here? Am I thinking about turning one in, or am I thinking about fading one? Well, I'm gonna hit it up the right half of this hole and turn one back. Again, when I say about turning one back, I'm not actually trying to turn it back. It's just I'm going to let my default shot come out here. So I'm always feeling how the club wants to feel heavy in transition, pushing up. Always focus on light grip pressure. All right, let's play one, Stu. See if we can make birdie up the last here. What a hole. Oh, I'm pretty pleased with that. Ha! My friends, I may have played one. 5-iron. Let's go see it. Well, let me tell you, folks, that's as good a 5-iron as I've hit in a while. Right down the flag, drawing back nicely. Oh, it's gone a hair long, but look, I'm going to take that on a 460 odd par 4 uphill into the breeze. It's a toughie. Let's see where the pitch mark is. There she is. There's a pitch mark. Not bad for the number, is it? Probably pitched a touch too far up. My desire, my ambition with my channel. I thought long and hard about doing a YouTube channel because there's so many people out there putting out, in my opinion, junk. Stuff that's not helpful. Making the game harder. Not seeing the game for what it truly is. And that's really why I started my channel. It's been incredible. At the time of filming this, I released a video on this is how you rotate. And it was on the channel for 5 days, and then the 6th day it blew up. It went from having, I don't know, 800 views to 11,000 views literally overnight, and me getting 300 subscribers. And it was on the eve of coming out here with my wife. And then I put on that day I put out a video about the right shoulder, and that got 2,500 views within 8 hours. And so all of a sudden the channel's gained a little bit of traction, which I'm really happy about. I want to add that anyone that's out there putting out info is doing it, I believe, with the integrity to help you play the best golf possible. But I have felt that I've had so many people come on my mat at Precision Golf that have got such a wrong idea about the game that it feels like with all of the technology and all of the know-how we've got from so many good golf coaches in the world, that the message is still not getting out there. Now, if you're a busy coach and a successful coach, doing this stuff takes a lot of time. I turn up at Precision Golf at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I do 2 hours every day. I've been putting content together and sticking it out there. It takes a lot of effort. And hopefully it comes across in the manner that I'd like it to be thought-provoking, to be insightful, and to take hopefully the mystery of the game out of it, because it's not an exact science. There is a lot to the game, but it can be distilled down to something very, very simple. And I think Nick, what he's done with his tee time tips, has done that. He's been able to give people quick tips that allow them to get through certain shots and make them enjoy their game. But for me, I wanted to go a little bit deeper. But in every video, try to make you appreciate that I can't answer the questions that you have. You've got to find them yourself. And hopefully I give you options of, well, if it's this, or if you're doing this, it might be this, this, or this. Not do this and X will happen. So far, I'm really enjoying it, and I hope you're here for the ride for the foreseeable, and I can make you play the golf of your dreams, because honestly, I absolutely want that with all sincerity. But what's more important than all of that is making this birdie, because I don't think I've birdied this hole at Villa Sol. Well, I can't remember the last time I birdied it. So I need all of you out there pulling me into making this birdie. Laura, come around. I want you to get a little look at this, because this green is brutal. It's downhill. It's right to left. It's a strong breaking putt. I'm sort of seeing it coming out here and turning in. Anything getting past the hole is away with the fairways. It is unpleasant. Unpleasant. I'm going to go 8 to 12 inches, maybe more, maybe 12, 15 inches outside right. And see if we can get this to drop in. There is no editing in this game, so if this goes in, it was first time in. Oh, I've left it short. What an absolute plonker. What a plonker. Now you're going to watch me make 5 from the back edge. You watch. No, right edge, Stuart. Knock it in. Beautiful. Well, my friends, I hope you've enjoyed that 3-hole journey with me. I know I've enjoyed it. Bit surreal talking about myself, not something that I've done a lot of about my journey. I really hope that you're getting something from this YouTube channel, and there is so much more to come your way over the coming weeks, months and years. I think you'll find it's as good a coaching as you're going to find on YouTube, that is for sure. So do stay tuned, share, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next time.